Welcome, I'm Diana, your non-guru real talk property pal. Today we're looking at some creative ways of getting involved in property investment. More investment options for you to choose from. Let's get started. Alright, let's kick things off with rent to rent, a strategy that's become quite popular. Now, where you're renting a property from a landlord and legally letting it out to tenants for a higher rent. You're basically the middleman, or as I like to call it, the property matchmaker. This one is a win-win because it provides a landlord with guaranteed rent for a number of years as well. It is not subletting, so will not be your typical AST contract. It will be a commercial contract. Surprised by the number of estate agents that also have not heard of this before. I'll be inserting a free guide for you from the property registry scheme so you can have a look as well. Now, why it's cool? You've got minimal investment. You're not buying the property, you're just controlling it. Your risk and financial investment is minimal. Quick returns. Start earning as soon as you get tenants, which you can also manage via a letting agent to make it more passive for you if your margins allow. The not so cool parts. Agreement complexities. Now, without getting into too much detail, this has to be drafted right as a commercial agreement rather than a normal AST type. Make sure you get a property lawyer to check it. Also, dependence on landlord's cooperation. You have to be clear in your contract who's responsible for what, e.g. major repairs and things like that. Now, let's talk about houses and multiple occupation. Picture a house where each room is like its own residential unit rented out to different tenants. Why HMOs are a big deal? More rent overall. It's like hitting multiple birds with one stone, but in a nice way. It can be a very profitable way, that is, if set up right. You've got high demand as well, especially among students and young professionals who haven't yet realized sofas aren't big. Challenges though. Management of the properties. More tenants means more problems. It's like being a ringmaster in a very domestic circus. Different personalities and issues with each tenant. You've got house regulations or safety regulations. There are more rules here than in a game of cricket. Fire regulations, spacing standards, height regulations, etc. If you're considering converting a property to HMO, please consult with an HMO conversion specialist. You've also got local council regulations. There's HMO licensing required, and you need to consider if the area is in Article 24, which is a conservation area, and you can't get HMOs anymore without planning approval. Purchase lease options. Okay, let's shift to that. It's where you control a property with the option to buy it. Kind of like dating a house before putting a ring on it. You pay a rental and you agree on a fixed term where you'll be given the right to buy after. There's no obligation though, so you in the meantime can let it out to tenants and earn some cash. Why it's savvy? You've got low upfront costs. You're not buying straight away, so it's like putting a property on layaway. You've got flexibility. If the market goes up, you're a genius. Prices would have been fixed already, so you'll likely have some equity built in at the time. If market goes down, you can walk away because you don't have an obligation, so no strings attached. The catch though with this one, the market risks. It's a bit like a weather forecast, not always predictable. You've got sellers cooperation. You need to make sure you have them on your side. So make sure you get the right paperwork in if you're going to lock that sale in. And some have had to put restrictions with the registry office that are charged to the property so that it's not sold to anyone else. Another strategy is cash loan investments. Think of it as being a temporary bank for property projects. You lend money to a developer or a property investor and they pay you back with interest, usually higher than your banks. A decent way to save in the short term. Why it's attractive? You've got high returns, okay? Short term as well, perfect for those who need their funds in a couple of months and need short-term gains. The downside, it is a risky business. You're basically betting on someone else's project. It's not a JV, so you don't necessarily incur a loss. It's a fixed rate investment, but do your due diligence on those you're lending to, as some may risk not paying back in time or at all. You've got commercial to residential conversions. forgotten spaces turned into residential units, for example. Why it's a game changer? Permitted development is on our side. Well, for some properties, depending on the type of commercial property, you may not need planning permission and it falls under your permitted development. You've got huge potential as well. Some people have converted empty spaces or offices into apartments and have made a killing from this. You've got high demand. Everyone loves a good transformation story, especially in good location. In terms of the challenges, you've got planning permissions. So for some commercial properties like pubs, you do require planning, unfortunately, and it's quite complicated. And then you've got costs as well, which is a big one. You may need to borrow big sums of money to, get this started. Another strategy is short-term lets. Now, think Airbnb, but with your twist. Why they rock? Okay. You've got higher income. It's like having a slot machine that pays out more often than not. Much better rates. It's like a hotel, but more comfortable for people. You've got flexibility. You rent out when you want to and use it yourself when you don't. But remember, availability and management is also an issue. It's not all roses. You need to be on top of cleaning and maintenance. And also you need to be available for your people coming in or for the short-term tenants so that you can be able to assist them in any case. You've also got regulations on the downside. Different areas have different rules, so you need to abide by those. There are other creative investment strategies. Okay, before we wrap up, let's quickly look at this. You've got flipping properties where you buy, renovate, sell. And then you've got crowdfunding investments. You've got off-plan investments, buying properties before they're built. It's like reserving the best piece of cake before the party starts. Then you've got also overseas property investments. You diversify by investing in property abroad. Each strategy has its quirks and charms. One thing in common though, they offer diverse ways to grow your wealth in the property market. So feel free to explore. And there is some of the property investment options you can have. Remember, investing in property isn't just about stashing your cash. It's about making smart choices, taking calculated risks, and sometimes having a bit of fun along the way. Keep learning and stay curious. And if you ever feel lost, just come back here for a refresher. Until next time.